That hymn I love, standing and staring like cows and sheep. We all need to do that. Do we ever do that? Sometimes. We really need to give ourselves permission to stand and stare, because in those moments, that's where your dream becomes evident. Each one of us has a dream. What is your dream? What is your dream? There's something that you've always wanted to do, like that shepherd boy. Something perhaps that you dreamed of as a young person. And over the years, maybe you lost touch with what it was and let it go. Maybe you've forgotten how to dream because it's not practical. We don't do that in our culture. Standing and staring like the cows and sheep. That's where the magic is. I want to just share with you a little personal anecdote that brought me to this point where I'm standing with you today. A few years ago, I had completely lost the ability to dream. I had no clue what I wanted to do with my life. In the coaching work that I've been doing the last couple of years, that's the question I often start with. What's your dream? And most people are in the place that I was back a few years ago. I don't know. I have no idea. Lost touch. Couldn't remember. But in that period of my life, I had lost connection with what I really wanted to do. And I didn't even know really who I was. I just knew that every day I woke up and things didn't feel right. I didn't have a sense of direction, purpose, clarity on what I was doing with my life. And as that became more evident on a day-to-day basis, I felt worse and worse and found myself in a spiral of depression and not knowing what I wanted to do with my life and really not liking myself for being there, having made a lot of choices that I had regretted. And from that place, I couldn't figure out a way out. I had no idea what to do. But in my readings, I had come across this quote by Joseph Campbell. Joseph Campbell, he says, "Follow your bliss. Doors will open where before there were none." Great, sign me up. I'll follow my bliss. What the heck's my bliss? If I had any sense of what my bliss was, I wouldn't be sitting here wondering, would I? What is my bliss? I'll follow it. That became my driving question. What is my bliss? What do I want to do with my life? What is my dream? I couldn't remember anything from my childhood that lit me up. It was all vague, like I was good at school, getting A's, but that's not a dream, that's just checking the boxes. What did I want to do? I didn't even know. That question ate me up every day. What do I want to do? Do I have a purpose? What is the point of life? Why am I here? What is the meaning of all of this? No answers. Struggling, searching. In the midst of this all, I was in a job that I did not like at all. I was in a relationship that was really toxic, and all of this contributed to a tremendous amount of stress. And now it's almost comical to look back and be able to take all of that suffering and say, it was really stressful. Like, no, it was hell. But I'll spare you the details. So all of that went on and on until I had a little boy, my son Cedar, who's now 5. And when he was born, I spent a lot of time sitting there on the sofa, nursing him in awe and wonder of this miracle of life. Because when I was pregnant with him, something magical was happening. It was way beyond me. That out of something, or out of nothing had come something. 2 cells divided into 4, and divided into 8, and split into 32 and 64, until pretty soon it was this living being that had a heartbeat inside of me. And it had kidneys, and a spine, and arms, and legs. It was growing fingernails, and I wasn't doing anything to facilitate it. It was doing it on its own, and it knew what to do. And 9 months later, out came a person out of my body. It was the most surreal thing I'd ever experienced. What is going on here? What is life really about? And so I'd sit on the sofa, nursing, wondering, wow, what is this miracle? What is life about? There's something here bigger than me. But how do I even fit in? Do I have a place? I'm just sitting here wondering, where do ideas come from? Ever stop and think about that? Where do ideas come from? I don't know. One day, I was at home with my son, and a magazine showed up in my mailbox. Ode, the magazine for intelligent optimists. And in this magazine, the whole issue was about laughter. And there was an article that talked about laughter yoga. And people who were laughter yoga leaders, and they would gather groups together in a circle to laugh for no reason. I thought, that's the weirdest thing I've ever heard of. And then it tickled some part of me, right in my gut, like, oh, wouldn't that be fun? But that would be kind of cool. Oh, that's crazy. I think I want to do that. I think I need to do that. But at the time, that was way outside my reality. I was an introvert. We don't do that stuff. I could not imagine myself doing that, but it planted a seed, like, oh, I would kind of like to. So I filed the magazine, put it on the back burner for quite a long time. So there's the seeds of a dream planted. But what actually causes us to take action towards our dream? It's either wild inspiration or crisis. Of course, the path I was on, I chose crisis. Not consciously, but that's what it took to get me going. So my marriage was crumbling, deteriorating, and I'm realizing, I'm going to be a single mom. What am I going to do with my life? I don't want to get a job doing something I hate. I don't want to be a single mom that pays the bills just to get by, and then I never get to see my son. And that is not the lifestyle I want. But what do I want? What do I want? There I go again. What is my bliss? What is my bliss? What is my bliss? Hello? Is anybody listening? Where do ideas come from? I was standing there, staring like a sheep. Like the hymn says, the best ideas come when you're just present, still. You know, when you're in the shower, when you're relaxed, that's when ideas hit you, always. I was sitting on the sofa with my son nursing, and I had started doing this laughter thing. I had found a group that I could meet with over the phone, because that works for introverts. You don't have to see people. So I was laughing with people over the phone, and the laughter had started to make a difference. I was starting to lighten up a little bit, and I'd done this for a couple of weeks, just barely getting started into this whole laughter business. And one day, sitting on the sofa, boom, I was struck by a bolt of lightning. This inspiration struck me like nothing I had ever experienced before in my life. I had never felt this energy, this passion, this conviction, this excitement ever before. And it was this knowing, oh, I know what I want to do with my life. Oh, this is so exciting. I know what my bliss is. I know what my bliss is. Oh, I was so excited. What I want to do with my life, this would be so cool. You know this feeling like when you're 5? Mom, it would be so cool. That was me again. It would be so cool if I could lead tours around the world, laughing with people, doing transformational travel adventures, and sharing the gift of laughter and connecting with laughter and transforming and getting in touch with who we really are and what we really want, going around the world. That would be so cool. Oh, that would be fun. I don't have a clue how to do that. I don't know how to run a business. I don't know how, I've never even traveled. What? That's the point why I want to travel, because I want to see the world, but I didn't know anything. Joseph Campbell told me, follow your bliss. And this is the only thing I'd ever experienced that was in the neighborhood of bliss, and it felt pretty rock solid. Bliss. All right. So there was my dream. Joy tours, laughter tours, travel, over here. I don't know where to start. Well, another wise sage once said, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. All right, what's my first step? I'm going to puke. This is really scary. Nobody told me bliss was going to be scary. I want to be bliss. How am I going to do this? My first step was going to Albuquerque to take a 5-day laughter yoga teacher training. with the founder of Laughter Yoga, a medical doctor from India who had come over to the States that week. And so at that moment, I decided to live my life as an experiment. What happens when you follow your bliss? I got this visceral feeling of what it feels like. It's brand new to me, but I got to test this out. Does this thing work, or are they feeding me a bunch of hooey? There's only one way to find out, and that's to live it. So I decided in that moment, I'm going to live my life as an experiment. What happens when you follow your bliss and listen to your heart and don't pay attention to those voices that say, because that was me. Oh, scary. I was an introvert. We don't get in front of people and laugh. Come on, it's crazy. All the self-consciousness. All the, what if I fail? Oh, how am I going to make money? I didn't know anything, and I was terrified. But I got to live this. I decided, something within me had conviction. I got to live this thing. So I went and laughed for 5 days as part of my laughter yoga teacher training. And something about laughing for 5 days did something to my brain, to my whole being. Completely disconnected me from that fear. Where after 5 days, I knew what I wanted to do. And I had courage, I had confidence, and I had clarity in my gut. I can do anything. Laughing for 5 days is miraculous. I will just say that. I laughed for 5 days and came out knowing, I got this. I can do anything. It's like a whole new level of consciousness that helped me connect with my higher self, my best self, whatever that was. And so I came back, filed for divorce, started a laughter club, started this whole new chapter of life. And step by step, by step, by step, by step. You guys have been with me for much of the journey. I started coming here during that initial period where I was like, whoa. And now, guess what? I lead joy tours around the world. Woo! It works. This stuff works. It's not a bunch of hooey. And Joseph Campbell was right. Every time I took a step in the direction of bliss, synchronicities happened. Phone calls, people, right connections, falling in my lap, easy. And every time I thought, no, I should probably do this. This makes more sense. You can make money doing this. Bang, bang, bang. Head against the wall, beating up against the wall, not making progress, struggling. It doesn't work. This feels like easy. Can it really be this easy? No, I'm going to struggle. No, we're supposed to do it the hard way. Be responsible. Struggle. Ease. Living the experiments. Fumbling around in the contrast, back and forth. What's really true? And turns out, it really can be easy when you let it. But we have a whole lot of conditioning in our way that makes us believe that it has to be hard, that we're supposed to struggle, that we have to do what we're supposed to do and listen to those shoulds and make sensible choices. Too bad the kids went upstairs. They need to hear this. So, just to wrap up that anecdote, for example, Paulette and Susan and a few others of us just returned from a joy tour of India. It was transformational. And it turned out that me following my bliss and lining up tours like this actually has a ripple effect. It touches a lot of other people in cool ways that are beyond me. It's not me doing this. It's something else at work. And now Sanju and Paulette, we're all going to India in December, and we're taking another joy tour of India. And it goes on and on and on and on. And there's joy school in Maui, all sorts of fun stuff. This is not a promotional commercial, I promise. But the point is, it works, okay? So, now, how is that relevant to what we started with at the beginning? Way back in the very beginning. We're going to go way back in time to the Big Bang. 14 billion years ago, approximately, there was a Big Bang when something came out of nothing. After that Big Bang, there's these little particles, tiny particles floating around the cosmos. I'll just refer to the smallest ones as quarks. I'm sure they're even smaller than that, but we'll start with the quarks because it's a fun word to say, quark, quark, quark. these quarks floating around the cosmos. One by one, they came together to form other subatomic particles. Electrons, protons, neutrons. Doing the electron dance, proton dance. You know the song? So those little particles were coming together, making atoms. And between the atoms, the electrons could dance from one to another, discovering that, oh, if the electron moves to this proton and this neutron, this nucleus, it forms this type of atom. And if it dances over here, it forms a different type of atom. And in the process of dancing between atoms, energy is released and harnessed, and there's this whole building blocks of matter thing happening that they didn't have any awareness of. They just knew, oh, go over here, cool, this is awesome. Over here, cool. Now just think how different our world would be if the quarks had this thing like, oh, so lonely in the universe. Do I even matter? I'm just gonna go see what's on Netflix. What if there was a little quark that was like, I have a dream. One day, I would love to be a tree. Wouldn't it be so cool to feel like sun on my leaves and wind in my branches? And his fellow quarks are like, dude, get real, you're a quark. There is no such thing as a tree. Hello? What fantasy land are you on? Duh. Get real. Oh, get real card. That's a dream killer. And you know what else? Those quarks did not have parental units saying, now you know, every quark in our family has gone on to be a helium atom. Your grandfather was a helium atom. Your great-grandfather was a helium atom. We do helium. That's what we do in our family, and you can be proud of it. And don't you go play with those titanium kids. You're a helium atom. No. That's not how the universe works. The quarks are like, floating around. Oh, let me see what's over here. Oh, titanium. Cool. Hey, iridium, whatever. They didn't make up names, they just went with the flow. What is the flow? I don't know what the flow is. But the point is, from those subatomic particles came atoms. From those atoms came molecules. From the molecules came cells, life. I mean, it all swirled around into these components, one by one, over the course of 14 billion years. These things came together, swirling masses of clouds and gases and dense particles to form stars and then planets. And now Earth, where these molecules came together to form water. How cool is that? H2O! Woohoo! Party in Quarkland! They're loving it! And now, on Earth, we've got these building blocks for life, and cells form, single-cell organisms. And then multiple cell organisms. And then fish, banana trees, mighty oak trees, dolphins, and even humans. Here we are. How did that happen? The quarks didn't have to go to school and go, chapter 3. All right, but insert A into B. They went with the flow. Now, the mathematically minded have been calculating this and computing, and they have discovered that there's no way, statistically, that could have happened by random chance. There is no possible way that just bumping around randomly in the cosmos started with helium atoms, and now we have rose bushes, giraffes, and bacon cheeseburgers. You know, that is not random. What is that force? I don't know. But the cool thing is, those quarks, they didn't have a vision of growing up one day to be an iPhone. They didn't have that gift of consciousness. They just went with the flow. And because they originated in that Big Bang that has led to the evolution of everything that we know to be real today, every one of those quarks was loaded with infinite potential to become something bigger than itself without knowing what that was. Those quarks didn't put limits on themselves. They just went. A really cool thing is because of 14 billion years of evolution that has created everything that we see, feel, touch, and experience today, those quarks are not just somewhere out there. They're not just up in the night sky. Guess what? They are you. They are us. You are a quark. You know, fundamentally, we're made of atoms. And what are atoms? Atoms are empty space, mostly. There's a nucleus, there's electrons. But guess what? That empty space isn't really empty. It's loaded with something that is the mystery of life. The scientists are madly trying to calculate and figure out what the heck that is. Is it dark matter? Is it dark energy? What is that dark stuff? The 96% of the universe that we don't know what it is. Woo! But that's us too. We feel solid. Makes us do this grand illusion, this game that says it's all real. See? I can feel it. I can touch it. Atomically, at the quantum level, it's empty space. Who are you really? This is the big question. So in that empty space is infinite potential. Now the cool thing is, quarks and fish and banana trees didn't have this level of consciousness that said, when I grow up, I want to be a banana tree. They just go. But humans, we are gifted with the gift of awareness and consciousness that lets us imagine, that lets us think, lets us access ideas. Where do ideas come from? Maybe that empty space. I don't know. I like to think of it as the imaginosphere. We've got the atmosphere, the stratosphere, all the layers, and then there's the imaginosphere where big ideas come from. It's always there. But you gotta stop and be still and stare into space like a sheep. And let your ideas show up. So those dreams that we had when we were kids, or even last week, the good ideas like, oh, would it be so fun to do that? That thing in your heart that just feels like, oh, I want to do that. Those are your quarks speaking. That is our level of consciousness. That is the flow of evolution. 14 billion years flowing through us, in us, and with us. Except when we don't go with the flow. We're like, oh, I would love to do that, except maybe next year because I've got all this stuff going on and I got to make some more money and all this stuff. And we come up with all the limiting reasons why we don't take any steps at all. And the more that we stop and take no action, and the flow of evolution proceeds with or without us, you can participate or not, it's your choice, but it's a ship that does not stop. The more we stop and we don't participate, the worse we feel. That was what happened to me. I wasn't participating. I wasn't connected with my dreams. And I wasn't in the flow. I wasn't doing anything that made a difference to anybody. I was just sitting on the sofa going, what am I doing with my life? What am I doing? That questioning was important. And we all need to have those periods in our lives too. But this flow of evolution, when you go with it, it's like you feel that sense of purpose, that clarity, that knowing what you want to do. And sometimes it's little things. It's something that you want to do this week. I want to go to the assisted living facility and sing with seniors. Great. That is movement. That is connection. It can be something grand, like I want to change my career and do something completely different with my life. It can be anywhere in between. It doesn't matter. It's continuing to say yes to that little voice within that says, I want to do that. It would be so cool if I could do that. And taking the brakes off. The helium atom that's like, do I dare go over there? Scary. Ugh. helium atoms didn't have the evolutionary baggage like we do. That's the other piece that we as humans are wrestling with. We've got the gift of consciousness that allows us to dream and get ideas from the imaginal sphere, but we also have all these years of evolutionary baggage. Because also preceding us in evolution were the herds. Bah, bah. And guess what? There's safety in numbers. Stay inside the herd. And so we learned really early on in our culture, just be like everybody else. That's where it's safe. And this other part of you's like, but I want to go do this. This would be so cool. Get real. We don't do that in our herd. All of that is the evolutionary baggage. So in every moment, we have a choice. We are participating in evolution whether we want to or not. We can either consciously choose to be conscious creators and saying yes to that pull in our hearts that's like, oh, I want to do that. Or we can unconsciously say, I want to stay over here in the herd. And maybe next year I'll do that. And the train goes on without you. And the more it goes, and the less you do, the more you feel disconnected from who you really are. Because you've got at least 75 trillion cells, all of which are made up of who knows how many atoms, which are made of who knows how many quarks, all say, dude, come, you, trying to get our attention. And our gut, our emotions are our guide. When we feel the, yes, oh, I would like to do that, or even the, oh, yeah, that feels so much better, relief, I want to do that. That's our inner compass that says, I'm aligning with the flow of evolution. And when our emotion feels like, I don't want to do this anymore. Oh, I feel stuck. I feel like I'm wearing a shoe that's too small. I don't want to do that. It doesn't feel good. That's your indicator. It says, your quarks are going. So we're equipped with this beautiful receiver that is our mind. It gets ideas. We're equipped with a compass that tells us, are we in the flow of evolution or not? But every one of us has the entire universe within us. Everything that came from the Big Bang is you and me. In every moment. And when we say yes to our hearts, we connect with something a lot bigger than ourselves. We might never know in this lifetime what it's called or how it works. Just know from my short experiment thus far, it's an awesome ride. And it keeps on getting better. So it was those 14 billion years of evolutionary history that helped me find the courage to take that first step. To trust that maybe my life could be better than it was. I had all sorts of excuses. I had a million excuses. Everything in the book, I had that nailed. Like, this is too scary. This is insane. Nobody does that. Come on. You don't even know what you're doing. Everything in the book, I could have squelched that right away. And some other part of me is like, 14 billion years. Hello. Pay attention. That's a lot of evidence that something might just work. It just might turn into something cool that's bigger than you. Getting out of our own way. But where do those ideas come from? I invite you to go out in the sunshine today. Take a deep breath of the air of spring. Tonight is a full moon. Go outside and look at the moon. The cosmos. The moon is not just out there. Because it turns out there is no out there. It's a quote from one of my favorite physicists, John Archibald Wheeler. The universe is within us. Everything that built life today, that created planets, that created iPhones, that created communities, that created everything, it's within each one of us. We're not separate. We are that. Perfect timing for a musical interlude. Thank you. That was a sign. I was about to wrap it up. So Nudge, nudge, here we go. Evolution rocks on. So go outside tonight, sit under the moon, and just listen to what's in your heart. What's your dream? What do you really want to do with your life? Because your answers are already within you. And those quarks are calling you. They're always there. And they won't lead you astray. Thank you.